Okay, let's unpack this. You know that feeling, that mid-afternoon wall in right after lunch,
Oh, yeah.
that heavy, can't keep your eyes open slump.
Definitely.
We dove into some sources that tackle exactly this, looking for the absolute most actionable tips to keep you alert.
hmm
And what we found kind of breaks it down into clear do's and don'ts.
Yeah, and what's really interesting in this material is the framework it uses. It suggests the afternoon slump isn't just your brain running out of steam.
Right.
It's fundamentally tied to what's happening in your body.
Your body. How so?
It focuses on three key areas: your meals, your actions, and your environment, all through this body-centric lens.
So maybe forget just powering through with more coffee. This deep dive is more about like physical and environmental tweaks.
Exactly. Let's start with the positive side, what these sources say you should be doing. And it kicks off, well, naturally with lunch.
Makes sense. What's the advice there?
The guidance is pretty specific. Don't eat until you're completely stuffed. Maybe aim for like 80% full.
Okay, stop before you're totally full.
And prioritize lower GI foods.
Lower GI, glycemic index. What kind of examples did the source give?
They mentioned things like mochi mugi rice ball with some salad chicken and miso soup. Something like that.
Okay. And why lower GI specifically?
Well, the why is crucial. Big, heavy meals, especially ones high in sugar or fat, cause a sharp blood sugar spike.
The spike.
And, what goes up must come down. A high spike is followed by a hard crash.
Which equals sleepiness.
Got it.
Lower GI flattens that curve.
Precisely. Managing that internal chemistry.
Okay, so you've eaten smart. What's the very next thing? What action should you take?
Get moving. Just a little bit.
Moving, like a full workout.
No, just a short walk. Even
Oh.
5 to 15 minutes right after eating.
That seems surprisingly short. Why does such a brief walk actually work?
Yeah, it's all about blood flow again. If you just sit right after eating, your circulation slows down. That contributes to that sluggish feeling.
Right.
A quick walk gets things moving, helps with digestion, and honestly, it just helps clear your head.
Simple, effective. I like it. Okay, what else for the afternoon? Any other do's?
Staying hydrated. But interestingly, they suggest specifically cold water or green tea.
Cold water. Why cold?
It seems to be about a slight physical jolt, like a mini stimulus to wake you up a bit.
Huh. Okay. And green tea.
Well, green tea offers a gentle lift. It has a bit of caffeine, but also L-theanine, which can help with focus without the jitters coffee sometimes gives. It's just a subtle way to keep your system engaged.
Okay, subtle boosts. Now, shifting gears to how you work. The sources talk about structure, right? Breaks.
Structuring your day with breaks. They even mention techniques like Pomodoro, 25 minutes focused work, then a short 5-minute break.
The Pomodoro technique.
Yeah, if you struggle with focus, building in those planned pauses can prevent total mental fatigue. It keeps your brain actively switching gears rather than just zoning out.
Makes sense. Less chance of drifting off. And one last you should do was about timing tasks.
Yes. Tackle simpler things right at the start of that typical slump window, say between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. It's just a smart strategy working with your body's natural rhythm. Ease back in with less demanding stuff like handling emails or organizing files.
Like a warm-up for your brain when it's naturally a bit slower.
Exactly. Prevents frustration and that urge to just, give up and nap.
Okay, so those are the do's. But this material was just as clear on what you absolutely should not do, right?
Yeah, definitely. And right at the top, it's those lunch choices again. But the flip side,
What to avoid.
explicitly named heavy, high-fat, or high-sugar culprits. Things like katsudon, oily noodles, creamy pasta dishes.
Which makes total sense now, thinking about that blood sugar roller coaster. Those meals basically guarantee the spike and crash.
Absolutely. And reinforcing the movement point, you should not stay completely sedentary right after eating.
So no plopping down on the couch.
Well, specifically, sitting and just scrolling on your phone for like 30 minutes or more is called out as counterproductive.
Because that stagnant blood flow just makes you feel heavier, more tired. The opposite of the walk.
Precisely. Then, looking at afternoon activities, being totally passive in meetings, that's a definite should not.
Yeah, just sitting there, listening. That can be a fast track to nodding off.
For sure. The sources suggest simple things like maybe taking light notes, even just keywords, or asking a question now and then.
Active participation keeps your brain switched on.
And here's one that has a knock-on effect. Do not have caffeine too late in the day.
The caffeine cutoff. What time did they suggest?
The recommendation was generally after 3 p.m.
And is that just about making it harder to fall asleep that night?
It's actually more than that. Late caffeine can seriously mess with the quality of your sleep, even if you do manage to fall asleep okay.
Ah, so deep sleep, REM sleep, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Poor quality sleep tonight means you're starting tomorrow already tired. It just perpetuates the cycle.
Right, setting yourself up for another slump.
Okay.
And finally, environment matters.
Hugely. The sources strongly advise you should not stay cooped up in a dark, poorly ventilated space.
Because dim light and stale air basically signal sleepy time to your body.
You got it. Natural light and fresh air are described as like enemies of sleepiness. So open the blinds, crack a window, get some air moving.
Makes sense. So, stepping back a bit,
Mhm.
how do all these, seemingly small physical things connect to tackling that big feeling of mental fatigue?
That's really the core insight from this material, I think. It challenges the common idea that the afternoon slump is purely a problem of your brain just being tired out.
Okay.
The evidence presented points pretty strongly towards it being an issue rooted more in your body.
Driven by things like blood sugar, blood flow.
Exactly. Blood sugar fluctuations, poor circulation, maybe a lack of the right kind of physical or environmental stimulus.
So what this deep dive really emphasizes are these practical physical adjustments you can actually make.
Yeah, it shifts the focus. Less about pushing through the mental fog with sheer willpower.
And more towards actively managing your body's state throughout the afternoon.
hmm So as you maybe feel that potential dip coming on this afternoon, consider this. Maybe it's less about how tired your brain feels and more about what you ate, whether you moved a bit, and even just the light in the room.
Definitely something practical to experiment with in your own day. Food for thought, or rather action for thought.